All opinions expressed in the video are my own. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everyone, and today we are looking at the natal chart of Mathew Perry. The astrological analysis of just the basics of his chart for us to get a perspective on just the dynamics of the energies he was born with, dealing with the archetypes, and the way that planetary bodies were weaving the story. All the opinions that I express here are based on my personal interpretation of the natal chart, and I'm looking at it not as objective truth, but as a unique, one-of-a-kind combo of the natal chart as it is for Mathew Perry, and of course his unique soul, personality, him as a human. So if you have similar things happening in your chart, in your life, this does not mean that it should have been like this for Mathew Perry, or if he has it in his chart, it doesn't necessarily mean you should be having it like he had in your life. So it's very important to understand that when we're looking at natal charts, because everyone's natal chart will work in tandem with the actual person, because we are not our natal charts. Our natal charts are not us. We have to be working together, or ignorance is bliss. Don't have to work at all with the natal chart if you don't want to. With this little disclaimer, shall we begin? So we are looking at the chart right now, and what I can see here is straight away a Lilith on the Ascendant. And I will tell you that he really wanted to get famous, just judging by his book that I read the other day, Mathew Perry, Friends, Lovers, and The Big Terrible Thing. That book really moved me. I think that he is one of the greatest writers and one of the greatest minds of his time, of our time, I feel, in my opinion. But let's just decipher everything one step at a time. Okay, I will be referring to this book as a treasure chest of another layer of information just to support my analysis here. So he wanted to be famous. Like, we're gonna find out as we go along the chart that this is just a compensatory feeling of wanting to be seen, of wanting to be not just seen, but also embellished, shining brighter than anyone, so you cannot not notice him. You cannot not go past and be like, who the hell is that? Some nobody. That was not it for Mathew Perry. So the Lilith is a double-edged sword. It's like an archetype that was demonized by negative patriarchy. It was an archetype of empowering the feminine aspect within yourself. It's an aspect that creates, right? And also can be disruptive. Lilith is something that tests us. If you have Lilith in Leo, I mean, I have Lilith in Leo, that's normally something like along the lines of walking out on the pandemonium and the crowds, like literally like a Roman emperor walking out and the crowds are cheering on, but he's not even moved by it. He's like, yeah, another day at the office. But when there will be no, let's say, the fall of the empire, there's no crowds cheering anymore. It's more likely tomatoes being thrown. And that Lilith will be like, gosh, I really want acknowledgement. I really want fame. Not just acknowledgement. I want fame. I want to be known. But when I am known, it's like a roll moment. Why am I even known? What am I even known for? That shift between really longing for something, but once you get it, it's never fulfilled. Lilith never is fully there. It didn't have an opportunity to become her own. It didn't have an opportunity to become wholesome. Because it's an ascendant, right? It's right here on pretty much rising sign. It was rising on the east the day he was born. And he was born in the morning, early morning. So the sun even hasn't risen yet, but Lilith was already rising. The sun is not far along there. Again, in the first house, and in its good rulership, because the ruler of Leo is the sun. So that strong sun, when he comes into the room, Mathew Perry will be definitely making heads turn. But at the same time, because Lilith is there, it's like could be hit and miss, because he doesn't even look what he claims to be, and then people give him this hesitant, should I even give him the praise? Or it could be just so much love, so much praise, that he thinks that this is it. This is what it should be like all the time, but not in an arrogant way. Because Lilith is not arrogant. It's more, yeah, you can give me all the praise, but do I really deserve it? Did I really work for it? I want to work for it. It's not just fake fame. I want real, the real fame. And oh boy, he had that. Okay, well, that is the first house straight away, like a punch of pineapple, vitamin C, orange juice, strong flavors, because it's the first house, the first thing we see. And that's how a person feels in this world. I'm a star, but it's not as simple as it is, because we don't look just at one thing and think, oh, that's it. We have to look at the whole ensemble playing. So now, interesting aspect I see here, Mars is trining that Lilith, and of course his ascendant. So we already have a relationship between Lilith and Mars is like the motivational speaker in our ear saying, come on, just do it. The PT of our life. His Mars is in Sag, and we've got a fire trine here between him, so the first house is the body. Normally Mars would be the ruler of the first house, and it is in the fellow fire signs, so Leo and Sagittarius are the fire signs. So we already have a positive, with the Lilith, I don't know if it's positive, but we have a auspicious, as they would traditionally put it, dynamic here. That means that he would do anything to get to his goal. And the goal, as it is said in his own words in his book, was to be famous, blunt, simple. And he managed. Like, I mean, I'm really trying here, and he just did it, all right? Sorry for the comparisons. I'm just saying, like, what I have in my chat, so I can actually speak about it properly. You know, sometimes, like, you live through these things, and you know how that feels. Just to, like, want to be acknowledged, like, want to be seen. I've always wanted to be seen as well, but who cares about me, right? Let's talk about Mathew Perry. So yeah, he wanted to be seen. And the question comes, why? Especially for someone who is an introvert. Why do you want to be seen, man? Especially in today's world. Like, you step to the left, you step to the right, and everyone is like throwing daggers at you. Another interesting thing, just to stay here. Why did I jump straight away to the fifth house? Because normally the fifth house is associated with Leo. We have Sun in Leo, and especially we have a trine with Lilith here as well to Mars. Mars is the traditional ruler of the first house. So there is a combo there. What else do we have in the fifth house? We've got Juno at the critical degree in Capricorn, and it is trining the Sun. Juno, it's an asteroid. It's like the wife archetype, and to dig deeper, it's something that makes us feel care and nourishment, if you want to break it down, but it's more about sensible, warm, and kind aspect of our nature. Something that will be putting effort to stay humble, to stay loyal, accepting, but not taking any BS, okay? It's not just like, oh, I'm your doormat. No, especially in Capricorn. It's someone who has dignity about them, but knows what the heart of gold really means. My interpretation again. So he loved women, wanted to be seen, not just by anybody. We will find out why later. I'll show you. He loved flirting. He loved strong women. He wanted to be gentle with the strong we men. Why I'm saying plural? Because it's the fifth house. It's the house of joy, the house of our fixation on joy. So the joy part, I feel, was at some place and time was substituted by substances, because we all know that Mathew Perry had this issue on the scale that I think he was doing leaps and bounds around Amy Winehouse even, because I read both of the books about them and it looked like, in terms of the volume, unfortunately, to say that he was a flirt, yes, he was a flirt. He wouldn't be flirting for no reason. It was like, you are amazing, I like you, let's go, let's do it. And of course, with Sagittarius Mars here, trining that whole thing, it's just experiment time. So he liked different, it's not just like one type, it's let's experiment here. That's Mathew Perry's mind, like that. Timid from the beginning, but once you get him started, but also gentle, because Juno is, you know, like on social media you have like these filters, like that misty, sparkly, cuddly filter that makes everything look like it's out of a K-pop music video. That's Juno. The best way I could describe it. Okay, so we talked about the sun, we talked about the first house, how he comes across, what his aspirations are, like his mojo in life, the first house. I want to be famous. And I'm going to experiment and I'm going to try things and I'm going to connect to people who I need to in order to do that. So the sun is done. Let's look at the moon, because moon is in Scorpio, ruled by Mars. So he was not only acting on it and being with his heart somewhere else, the moon. He was putting in the love. He was putting in the passion. Scorpio is nitty gritty, raw. And he did feel all the highs and all the lows. The fourth house is the house of our roots, family, what our house would look like. And moon also represents the mother. So this is where the issues, I feel, begin for Mathew. As a little boy, he didn't really experience the tender, I mean, of course, his mom loves him, of course, and his father as well, but his family life didn't really work out in terms of him being a child to his parents and them having like a tight unit. It didn't work out because his mom was very young when she had him. His father was aspiring actor and wanted to get his career on track, and he left them really early. Distance in between places. Scorpio, moon in Scorpio is at its fall. It's like that moon that's a bit S&M, that just feels comfort in the uncomfortable. So as a child with those roots, Mathew had to adjust to, I mean, for a child that's a hostile environment, in terms of emotional nurturing. Emotionally, he was feeling a lot and very, like, I mean, even psychically attuned to his mother. So if we look at his moon, it's ruled by Mars, or if you want to take a modern spin on this, it's ruled by Pluto. And we have Pluto on the south node and with the Mercury. I'm going to get to this a bit later. Just wanted to show you the dynamic here between the moon and his life as it panned out later. I'm not blaming any of his caregivers for anything, just that it's obvious that it affected him, the way he was dealing with his mom being at work all the time. He had to work to be seen. And why am I saying that? Because moon is actually exactly opposite Saturn in the 10th house, the house of career. So he knows nothing comes for free. You have to perform, you have to work hard, not only to be seen and to achieve things, but also to sometimes even feel things or not feel things. Do you understand what I'm saying? Again, if you want to take it really like basic astrology, like mom is the moon and dad is Saturn. So dad was in the 10th house. It's like always outside the home, a polar opposite of the home. So he was always outside working, doing stuff, busy. All right, well, mom, she was at home, she was around, but because it's Scorpio, it's hidden. What was she feeling? What was she thinking? When is she gonna be back? And in his book, he writes that, like, I would just come home and no one would be there. I would be hanging out by myself. So imagine him with the moon in Scorpio in the fourth house. So he feels like he belongs, like he likes to be at home. It's like his sanctuary. But it's a hidden underbelly that very exclusive. Somewhere where he hides. And that, with this dynamic of wanting to be seen, we already have a little bit of a cognitive dissonance, right? We've got Neptune also here in the fourth house, and it just amplifies what I have just said about the hidden aspect. And why am I saying hidden? Because Moon is ruled by Mars as a traditional ruler, and also because it's in Scorpio, but also in the modern astrology, in evolutionary astrology, it's ruled by Pluto. And one thing I forgot to mention is that the Saturn is squaring, so it's in a conflict, right? Archetypal conflict, butting heads with that Lilith. So he worked his butt off at work, even after later in his life. That's kind of the picture he got. That's the program he got from the roots. That in order for the tree to be strong, you have to have your career sorted, right? You have to do better. You have to be grounded in your career, because when you come home, there's nothing that's grounding you. It's just a pool of tears or vodka. Apologies if I'm being a bit graphic here. Just trying to communicate the vibes, all right? So you can empathically be sensitive to Mathew Perry's state, internal feeling. I'm painting a picture. And that's Saturn square Lilith in the fixed signs on the cardinal cross of his chart. It's just insane. I feel like he was finding so much comfort doing friends. I feel like with this Saturn in Taurus, he loved going to work. He loved being busy. He loved his work. He loved his craft. I mean, it just makes me want to tear up. It's just wonderful. He gave us, humanity, such a gift with the character that he portrayed. Chandler. It took me a while to resurface it in my brain. Chandler, right? Okay. So as we know, his Saturn is in Taurus, and let's look at what is associated with Taurus firstly. It's the second house, right? And it kind of ties back into this second house. His Mercury is here, South Node, and Pluto in almost a triple conjunction. Just literally not far off each other, looking at the degrees. They are working together. So his mind is very, very sharp. And on the spot, he would be writing jokes, scanning people's performances, like he was a calculator. And considering the amount of pills that he was taking, he was still sharp. That's just genius level, I feel, here. And that's why he was recognized for his writing skills and everything that related to Mercury in its home sign in Virgo. I mean, I would be taking my hat off if I had one to Mathew Perry's talent in writing, skillful artist in that way. Mercury is that very dynamic archetype, like it's flickering, because Mercury was not only dealing with the light, the Olympus, the order of the day, he was also descending into the darkness of the night, into the realms of Hades, into the realms of Pluto. This is just speaking in terms of mythology of Mercury, general terms. And here we do have a triple conjunction. Mercury, South Node, the karmic baggage, what kind of we know how to do, we were born with it. The South Node is like our skill set from the get-go because of our DNA memories or our ancestral karmic construction that we have already put in previous incarnations. And it's just so we're so used to it that we don't really think like it's really worth anything, but we can use it in order to progress our consciousness forward. But also, as a downside, it can drag us back. It's just this comfort zone. So he was a joker. In order to get the recognition, he was joking. He became a jester of the school and always making his mom laugh, figuring out a way how to be noticed. And that's what he did. It was all in for Mathew Perry when it comes to work. All in, which is admirable. What I also feel with these three, Mercury, South Node, and Pluto in Virgo in the second house, is this on and off, lock, unlock. Because Gemini is that, it's that flickering vibe, right? South Node is the vacuum cleaner vibe. Like, that's just like suck in all the baggage that we have, all the knowledge that we have, all the talent that we have, and just leave it there or use it. But like it's a vacuum cleaner bag. Like, what are you talking about? Is it really valuable? Kind of, this is the vibe of the South Node. And Pluto is decomposting, maggots. So that's his mind. I'm not saying there were maggots in his mind, but and the moon is right there, and it's so deep, it's so private. Even if he was this charming thing at work, working his bum off for recognition to be famous, so we have a shiny coin with the back, like just one side of the coin, and then there is that private, dark, and like doomsday vibes. What else can I do to feel love? What else can I do to feel whole? What else can I do to be seen? And he wanted to call his book The Passenger, the Unaccompanied Passenger, because he had to see his father when he was like 5 years old, and he flew, or something, like he was really small, and he had to be flown, but no one was around. He was like an unaccompanied passenger on the flight by himself, like a little boy sitting in the passenger seat by himself, shivering, feeling like, oh, I'm not recognized for how precious not for how precious, but like, why the hell am I alone? Unaccompanied minor, that's what his original name of the book was, but he changed it. Because again, very private. Rather just have this other different name to the book, so there's this shiny facade, but everything behind it is deep waters where eels are swimming around and you don't even know if they're there, and then you get electrocuted every now and then. Self-inflicted pain. And of course, as a result, everyone was shocked by his passing, of course. And again, I wanted to mention that demise of Mathew Perry also is reflected in the chart by Neptune having a sextile to Pluto. Those two together, even in a positive aspect, can really make some mess. And he knew that was like, okay, this is enough. It's not like, sometimes they're like this very, really wild rock stars, and they're like, yeah, let's keep on rolling and let's keep on going. No, with him, it was like, oh my God, another one. Oh my God, I'm an addict. Oh my God, another one, another 10, another 50. It was like everything was calculated because it's Virgo. Everything was like self-criticism. And but I'm feeling so bad. I have like this much tank to fill in, but like I just don't. Oh, temple massage. It was like that. Oh my God, not again. Oh my God, again. But then it comes to work, recognition, and then when the fame hit, he was like, I still have this to deal with. I still have my moon in Scorpio. I want to feel, I want to be. He wanted to be needed, loved, acknowledged, and he was a very private person. Look how many planets he has underneath the horizon. Very private. And he wanted to share it silently with someone who understands. Wanted to have a family. He would do everything for it. The head of the family. So now let's talk about the relationships part. The family part. He's already personal family, his relationships, right? He really never had a family of his own. They were romance, objects of romance. They were good friends by his side, women, but never really someone who he would take to the aisle. And we're going to quickly go over that. So with this doomsday mind, but not just irrational doomsday mind, everything was logically constructed. It's like, yes, I'm an addict, I'm doomed. Because of A, it is a B. Because of C, it is a D. And it's in the house of relationship, house of self-worth. Did he have issues with self-worth? Looking just at that, yes. Compensating with the fame. Compensating with the quick wit, the comedic flair, just to balance this deep waters out. In my humble opinion, I feel that what would have saved or could have saved Mathew Perry from abuse of substances would be family, having family and being fully invested in just that. But because we have Neptune not really well aspected, because it's squaring his sun, conflict there, like, who am I? What am I doing here? Where do I belong? Where are my roots? I don't have any roots. Like, I'm a Canadian in the US. I'm famous. Everyone knows me by Chandler. I want to be a playwright. I did a playwright, a play. I wrote a play. Am I just Chandler? Is that it? Identity crisis, self-loathing, too logical, too linear, but the emotions, they're not linear. How do you put them in line? Oh, let's just have a line. Sad. I want to take a breath. Okay, so opposing South Node in Virgo, we have obviously always North Node. And because it's Virgo, the opposite sign is Pisces. And here we go, making that connection with the Neptune. Trining Neptune. And it is in the 8th house. He really wanted to merge, to share with someone spiritually in the home setting. So we have like a connection between the 8th house with the North Node there to Neptune, and then it's sextiling Pluto. Ideally, if I were to judge, put my kind of like, okay, well, Mathew Perry, like if let's say he was my client, I would be asking him, all right, how would you think of having someone really spiritual, but not like love and light cliche, someone who is like devoted to family, and someone who will show you what devotion really means. Devotion, like how he's devoted to his craft, like he's really putting boundaries there. Like, okay, when I come to work, I need to be good. So he kind of needed to reapply that to his inner workings a bit. Like, okay, I'm feeling a bit crap. I'm not gonna do the nasty things. I'm gonna be doing something else. Ideally, he would need whether someone to inspire him to do spiritual practice in terms of letting those emotions run through, but having that higher anchor, something noble and hope-inducing. Then it would work, I feel. There would have to be a profound woman who would change his life. And he had something with Julia Roberts, but then in the end he was scared to be dumped by her, so he turned it down with her. He didn't know how he would deal if he would feel like an unaccompanied minor again, alone. So he would rather stay alone and have packets of stuff in his cupboard, open, drink, done. That's the lower octave of Neptune, the illusionary, delusionary world of smoke and mirrors. Ideally, he would need someone, I don't know, like Mother Teresa, but she had to look like Julia Roberts. You know what I mean? Someone who would be like fully invested in him, like he would be fully invested with that woman and not backpedaling. This is not a hobby. This is serious. This is marriage. This is forever. He was scared with the Pluto there, South Node. Oh my God. And, if you look at it from an evolutionarist aspect, he knows what it feels to have a twin flame. And no one was really there in this lifetime to match that. That's why he was giving himself these little scenarios in his head saying, it's actually me who's not good enough. That's why I know that I'm this not good enough person, but you are this amazing person. But if you turn away from me, I'm going to feel even worse. So I'm going to be the one who's going to break up with you. You see how complex this is? And last but not least, North Node in Pisces, the spiritual merging. The North Node is where our soul eagers to move towards. It's where we're going to be in our soul vector of development. And Pisces is related to Neptune, and if you read his book, you don't just get, oh, this is just so nuts and this is so greedy, but it's also humor, it's also like beauty in it, the poetic beauty in it. So he really like knew how to create this cauldron of various aspects to make it deep and to make it memorable, unique, and highly attuned, like a fallen angel becoming an angel again. The revelations. And North Node is trining Venus in the 12th house. North Node is both trining Neptune, and they are connected with Venus because Venus is exalted in the 4th house. It's exalted in Pisces. I feel he just wanted to connect to the mother cell, to the cosmic womb, to that feeling when you are on your mother's chest, feeling her heartbeat, feeling the warmth and the highs and lows of her breath, and you just feel safe. He wanted to feel safe, but he didn't. He didn't feel safe. Why? Because Venus is the ruler of Libra and also related to the 7th house. And this is the last one here, just for us to sum it up. The ruler of his 7th house, the house of relationships. Venus represents values, relationships. So it's ruled by Aquarius, and we have Aquarius here, and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus is in Libra. So there's a connection there. And Jupiter is right there. The massive role of the relationship. And it was all very mental because it's the 3rd house related to, again, Mercury. Very mental, expanded. One little thought, he was creating mountains out of molehills. When it comes to relationship, should I not? This is nothing. But no, this is everything. And with Libra is like looking for balance. Uranus is that switch on and off, that lightning, that consciousness upgrade through the slap in the face. I'm not promoting anything like that, but just giving you a metaphor, right? Take it with a grain of salt, please. Sometimes life gives you a slap on the face so you can like wake the hell up. This is Uranus. This is how he rolls. He literally orbits. All the planets are like this, and Uranus is the other way. And that's Uranus. In Libra, it's subdued but still erratic. So relationships, you can never count on anyone. How can you count on them? How can you even count on yourself? That's how like Mathew Perry allegedly felt, according to the just looking at the chart, okay? I could be wrong, but having read his book and then looking at the chart and then looking at the book again, looking at the chart again, ooh, you just would want to sympathize with the human experience in this case. Longing for balance, knowing what it looks like, but where the hell is it? And another interesting little recap. We have on the cusp of his 7th house, Aquarius. And in tarot, Aquarius is related to the star card. And it's the card of beauty, of like this cold, arctic beauty with a beautiful white mermaid sitting in the distance holding a pearl and looking at it and being like, look, check out who is the star here. And then you're like, oh, I wanna take a photo of you. And then she just jumps into the ice cold water and never to be seen again. The guiding star of our dreams. The mythical creature we create in order to drive meaning in our life. And that is 7th house for Mathew Perry, the house of relationships. Am I good enough for this beautiful star? Am I good enough for Julia Roberts? Am I good enough for his co-worker, Jennifer Aniston? Timid, shy. How long should I look at her so she wouldn't notice? Am I good enough? They're so close, but so far away. Am I enough? Am I enough? And also opposing the Aquarius here, we have what? We have Lilith, right? Opposing his 7th house. So let me know what you think in the comments. Very unique chart, very unique person. I didn't even talk about the Chiron opposing. Chiron is opposing Jupiter and Uranus. Yeah, so again, same thing. Am I good enough? What is it good enough what I'm doing for the relationship, for myself? But I'm going to do everything for my work, and I know what the ideal looks like. And that's good. That's good. If you know and feel what the ideal looks like, even though it's hidden, if you know and feel what the warmth of a nuclear family, happy family, like they show in the ads of in the 50s, even looks like, they just fill in the gaps. And unfortunately, Mathew Perry got in a bit of a pickle with the accident, and the doctor gave him the pill, and that's where it became really, really bad, unfortunately, for him and for everyone involved around and for us on a global scale, because what a talent, and left us too early, left a legacy. I appreciate your time here. I appreciate your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me. I really appreciate it. And thank you for listening. I have already many things happening in the pipeline, and I would be curious to hear your suggestions. Lots of love. Stay healthy, stay real, and stay joyful. See you soon.